painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking, KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Art Beat, we take you to the Frozen River Film Festival's Minnesota Filmmakers panel to talk with Mike Schultz, Don Mickelson, and Sharon Mansour. These three filmmakers all have years of experience in making documentary films in Minnesota. Today, we talk about some of the work these great filmmakers have done, the benefits of being a Minnesota-based filmmaker, and some interesting stories from their experiences. I'm Ryan Flanders. Get your hot dish ready as we bring you the Frozen River Film Festival's Minnesota Filmmakers panel. Okay, so we are here at the Frozen River Film Festival. We just got done with the Minnesota Filmmakers panel. And why don't we just start off? You guys could just say, your names and kind of some of what your work is.
I'm Mike Schultz, and I've got a couple movies here at the festival this year, Iron Opera and 40 Below. And usually I do playful documentaries, I would say.
My name is Don Mickelson, and I'm laughing about the playful documentaries. And I've got I have a film here called Minnesota Mean, and last year I screened a film called Finding Her Beat. My films tend to be, currently they tend to be about women claiming their space and being powerful.
Hi, I'm Sharon Mansour. I'm a Winona-based dance and interdisciplinary artist. And this year at Frozen River, I've co-curated a film set called Blurring Borders, Cinema and Home, and then I have a short work-in-progress film called Neither Here Nor There with my collaborator, Meryl Merman.
Awesome, guys. So what is kind of your guys' favorite part of the filmmaking process here in Minnesota?
I do love the people I work with in Minnesota, like the collaborators I found here. I work up in Duluth, but I work with a lot of people from the Twin Cities and really all over the state. And I love the community here.
Yeah, I would agree with Mike, actually, that this region has a lot of incredible storytellers who are gifted as well as generous with their time and with their talents. And so, yeah, I mean, collaboration, filmmaking is by nature a collaborative art form. And so enjoying that company is probably one of the best parts of it.
Yeah, I found for both dance and the visual work I do, including film, that there's just a lot of incredible inspiration and collaboration happening in Minnesota. And as an Arab American artist, I found in the Twin Cities the organization MISNA that supports art and culture from the Arab Swana region, that's been, even though I'm in a more rural area in Winona, not so close by, that the work they're doing, including their Twin Cities Arab Film Festival every year, and the screenings they do year-round, and the co-curator that I've found in Michelle Baruti, who works there, that is an anchor point for me. So when I'm working in Winona, I feel the support in the web of community directly from here to there.
And so then you guys said you've all been here to the Frozen River Film Festival multiple times now. What are some of the joys and the benefits of these kind of film festivals being here right in Minnesota?
Well, I love this festival mostly because it's a documentary film festival, and that's what I do. And it's, sometimes documentaries are, I wouldn't say a second-class sort of art form at other film festivals, but again, that's how I feel, and I think that's valid. But, again, it's so fun. It's like summer camp for a filmmaker to be at a festival like this and hanging out with other filmmakers. It can be really energizing.
I've been struck by how well attended the screenings are. That is not the case in every festival, and particularly in a community of this size, to have the screenings full of people who are enthusiastic and engaged in the work. I just kept thinking as I was in one of the sessions today how I wish I had a festival like this in my own hometown, because I would love for my community of Lake City, Minnesota, which is, an hour north of here, to be exposed to this work and have these conversations with one another.
Yeah, so I am spoiled to be living here and have all these filmmakers and films come here every year. And and the sense of community, because we can all get in our own working circle, our closed little circle. So I get to meet all these people, see so many films. I can't believe, this is the 19th year of Frozen River. So it just feels tremendous. And focusing on documentary films feels so important, that specific type of storytelling. So yeah, I feel like we're so fortunate to be here.
Okay, and so then what are some of the challenges that you guys have had in your recent projects?
I think the challenges are mainly about the business of filmmaking. I think, if the world were my oyster, and funding was not an issue, and if distribution were not an issue, I think of the great work that could be coming out of all of these filmmakers. I think that, in particular, having two films that have been doing the festival circuit over the last year, distribution of documentaries, getting it in front of audiences has gotten harder. And we had a beautiful time in the last 5-10 years where streaming services were buying indie work and putting it on, Netflix and Hulu and all those guys, and they have, for the most part, stopped buying indie work. And so we're really dependent now, I think, on figuring out how to distribute on our own. And festivals are a part of that, of getting it in front of audiences and getting them excited and telling their friends, so that when it comes out in streaming, they're like, hey, I saw that. That was great. And by streaming, I mean putting it up online yourself.
Challenges. Yeah, my challenges recently have had to do with the grant timelines that I've had, and then the process needing longer. And in some cases I've been able to go back and say, hey, I need an extension. And in some other cases, it's just like, well, we're just going to have to stop it here and then try to regroup later. But yeah, I've just noticed some processes I'm in, maybe where I am in my life, or collaborators I work with from afar, like we've just needed more incubation time. And that's part of what I said earlier in the discussion, like the sense of grant structures and funding formats that are made, decisions are made by other people. Somehow, it's a challenge, like we need the funding and support, but sometimes it doesn't match the creative process. So I feel like that's a conflict I'm trying to work through and think about, how to be supportive of what the project needs, as well as, of course, yes, I want to pay my collaborators well. So how do we negotiate that?
Okay, now I thought of what I was going to say. It was something that Sharon said earlier about sometimes limitations can actually make a project better. So I'm just going to be relentlessly positive, because I do feel like really fortunate to be doing something that I love. So I hate to. I mean, the challenges you guys talked about obviously were very real, but sometimes challenges are good. It can be a good thing.
Okay, and you guys kind of touched on this during the panel. But what advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into filmmaking in Minnesota?
I did mention this in the panel. Just stay in Minnesota, because especially for younger filmmakers, where they can maybe make a film with a smaller budget, like it's very possible to get grants for some of these smaller budget things. So, I definitely wanted to leave home and move around the world, and I lived in Japan for a while, and I did a lot of different things. But then I came back to Minnesota because it's just a great arts community. So don't leave. Just never leave.
That almost sounded like a threat. Never leave. Right? But I would agree with, in a kinder way, than never leave. No, just kidding. But I think that the idea of staying in Minnesota is becoming more and more viable for filmmakers. And I want that to continue, because I think that the stories of this region have been ignored for such a long time, and we have such rich, interesting cultural stories to tell, and there is more and more of a market for those stories. People are hungry for stories that come from a specific place, and it might not be the place that they live. And so our stories are becoming more and more important. So stick around, tell our stories, tell your stories, and also try to figure out how to make a living while doing it, which may involve a lot of creative decisions.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, including never leave. And I guess this was my path. I just feel like there's so much opportunity here in Minnesota to see so many films and to meet so many people. and to really try on different ideas of what that path might be. Because if creating our own path, I mean, it's such a creative act to create the path of the making. And I feel like there's a lot of workshops and festivals like Frozen River and training programs. And I mean, there's just a lot to be tapped into depending on your interest and time. And that kind of always being in the learning mode has really served me well and a lot of the collaborators I work with. And so while also like pitching projects and raising money, like how do you keep that fed, that creative impulse to learn and be curious fed? And I feel like I found a lot of resources here in Minnesota for sure.
One last question. Where can people find some of your work or some more information on what you do?
I guess the best place to find my work is I've got a website. It's named after me, Mike Schultz, MikeScholtz.com. And everything's there. It's amazing.
Ditto, but mine isn't Mike Schultz. Oh, wow. Just me? Okay. Right? So my website is emergencepictures.com, and you can find information about the films, or you can, Google the names of the films and find them on, social media, etc. I'm on there all the time, probably more than I should be.
Yeah, I have two places. Manserdance.com is a bigger creative umbrella with a lot of my different projects. And then cedartreeproject.com are my Arab-focused projects. There's social media, and then I have quite a few films up on Vimeo. So if you search me in Vimeo, you'll see a lot of my short projects.
Can I add one more thing I just realized? I'm sorry. I would be... my collaborators on Finding Heartbeat would be really upset if I didn't say this. So I'm saying it for them. But on Valentine's Day, which is next week, February 14th, Finding Heartbeat, which screened here last year, will be available worldwide on Amazon, Google Play, and Tubi. And so if you've been dying to see that film from last year and missed it, this is your opportunity to see it.
Thank you guys very much. Thanks again to Mike, Dawn, and Sharon for joining us today on Artbeat. To see more of their work, check out their websites. For more conversations on art, tune in to Artbeat, Tuesdays at 12:30, right here on 89.5 KQAL. For podcasts of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to kqal.org. I'm Ryan Flanders, and we've just heard from Minnesotan filmmakers Mike Schultz, Dawn Mickelson, and Sharon Mansour on Artbeat.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.